we're going to lead into his report by letting you know that the vote to impeach CNMI Governor Ralph Torres could happen now in a matter of weeks. There is a timeline on this emerging issue. Tomas sits down with some lawmakers who are leading the charge to that.
At the end of the day, when it comes to policy decisions, right, it's a numbers game, and he sees the numbers, and we could have railroaded it, but I didn't want to go that way.
House Speaker Edmund Villagomez formed a 9-member bipartisan special investigating committee on impeachment to deliberate on the resolution backed by at least 13 lawmakers, one shy of the 14 votes the House would need to impeach Governor Ralph Torres.
There's people out there that want to see this expedited, and then there are some that agree with the process. So I feel that this is the fair way to go.
The committee has 30 days to take action, which could include a vote by all 20 lawmakers as soon as mid-January. It comes after months of hearings by the Judiciary and Governmental Operations Committee.
We wouldn't necessarily be doing everything over again because we have all the documents, all the exhibits. I believe this is a fair committee composition.
However, the governor might not agree. Torres called out Representative Tina Sablon, a Democrat running for governor, saying she shouldn't be a member. She is now and says it isn't out of bounds.
Let me start by being very clear. I do support impeachment. I signed that resolution, and I will be voting yes when it gets to the floor. And I came to this conclusion after nearly 2 years of reviewing thousands upon thousands of pages of the governor's own records of expenditures.
A historic test of checks and balances in a battle for power.
The governor does not control the legislature. He doesn't get to decide who should be involved and who should not be involved. It's not up to him to determine the terms of his own investigation and impeachment. This is a legislative process.
Tomas Manglona for KOAM News on Saipan.
All right, everybody, and now Tomas is actually joining us once again in the Zoom room. Tomas, interesting developments out there now, as you said. There is somewhat of a timetable that's being projected for when the impeachment could happen if it comes to that.
Yes, sources tell me that it is likely to happen in just a matter of weeks, mid-January, in fact. And this morning, the chair of the Judiciary and Governmental Operations Committee hinted that the impeachment vote actually could happen earlier. Selena Babauta, a representative who chairs the committee that has been investigating the governor, posted online, quote, "While I oppose Speaker Villagomez's decision to create a special committee, I have every confidence and full faith in the leadership committee under Chairman B.J. Attal's leadership. We stand ready to deliver the people's mandate. We are focused and our conviction is unwavering." She writes that she wants to assure everyone that the House leadership is working hard and that this process will play out. And of course, that committee being formed to quote unquote provide a fair impeachment process to Governor Ralph Torres. And so we're gonna stay tuned to the latest on that. But wanted to shift gears, of course, as the CNMI continues to experience its COVID-19 surge. Last night, the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation reports 61 new cases of COVID-19 on December 20th, bringing the total to 2,641 cases since March of 2020. They also report that 1,615 recoveries have been made. There are 730 active cases and 12 individuals hospitalized now as a result of COVID-19. 9 of whom are unvaccinated, 3 are vaccinated, and 1 is on a ventilator while 1 was discharged. We also wanted to share that as of yesterday, there have been 2,315 new cases since October 28 in this surge that we are currently in. And wanted to also share some more news, this time out of the Marianas Visitors Authority. In a press release yesterday, they write that the first flights from Korea to the CNMI since March 2020 are being supported and planned by the Visitors Authority. And so those first flights since the pandemic started from Korea will begin starting on December 29th. And so in just about a week, the 3 flights will come by Jeju Air on Saipan on December 29th, January 5th, and January 12th. The managing director of the Marianas Visitors Authority, Priscilla Jacopo says, quote, with the welcomed restoration of jobs at hotels, restaurants, and travel agencies, as well as increased government and business revenue, we've seen flights resume from Seoul in July, and we are now working with our industry partners to try to reopen Busan. And so, again, there just a slight correction that the first flights from Busan, Korea, will be arriving on December 29. And so, with that spirit of more tourists arriving and the holidays right around the corner, yesterday also, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres granted administrative leave for all non-critical Commonwealth employees. He says in the spirit of the holiday season, he's authorizing all non-critical employees of the government to take administrative leave starting today at 12 p.m. He says, as this year comes to a close, let's be reminded that despite our differences, we remain united. And so, Chris and Jace, those are some of the latest headlines. And next week on Pacific Matters, we'll be providing an overview, a recap of how we got to this beginning of the impeachment process. We've been reporting on this process since it first started as a meeting between lawmakers last year, really, and when the Open Government Act request, the request for public information was put together. So next week on Pacific Matters, we're dedicating the entire show to looking back at that coverage and how we got here in the first place.
Real quick, I just wanted to ask, because going back to the impeachment storyline, right? Obviously, when you look at it from a tactical perspective, right, the people that are in favor of impeaching Governor Torres would say, let's do this, yesterday. Let's really move on this, right? Have you any indication, or have you talked to anybody that they said maybe Governor Torres as a counter argument would say, if there's a movement against me, fine, and I accept, that's the business I'm in, but we're also in the middle of a pandemic, we're having a surge and everything like that. This just isn't the right time to have such a massive change in leadership and everything. Is there anything that would indicate to that end?
Yes, and that's something that the House Speaker has said himself, that there are folks who want to see this happen right away and others who want to see, maybe the process be a little bit more prolonged. We do understand that they probably could have had the vote this week if they wanted to, I suppose. But they're waiting to go through this process. And one thing that they point out is that this is a similar process as it was for Governor Fitiel, who was impeached but ultimately resigned before the Senate could act on any of that. And so we'll see. The committee has 30 days. The clock began yesterday, so now that goes to 29 days. But we'll see. Mid-January is what we're hearing when a vote will happen. And the governor at the press conference that we tapped into here on the link a few days ago did acknowledge the House has the numbers, but he believes he'll be okay in the Senate and has confidence in the process there.
Interesting how there is evidence that this has happened before and everything, but of course, the situation in the world, obviously night and day's difference and everything like that. So good hustle, man. We appreciate it. And have a safe flight back.
Thank you so much. Have a great holiday, everyone.
All right. Merry Christmas, Tomas.
8:30. Let's